All right. So this semester, I am privileged to be taking you through electronic commerce, electronic banking, and electronic commerce. For the past 9 years, I've been with UPSA. This has been my course. This course, I actually, when I joined UPSA, they were having trouble with someone to teach the course because it was a new area. Nobody wanted to go into it. And the course, how it was designed, etc., had to restructure the whole course, bring in some things which are important. And this is one course which keeps on changing. I don't stick to old notes. There are some notes that maybe you cannot do anything about it. You still have to use the old one. But there are a lot of areas too that I almost every year update because electronic commerce and electronic banking is not something that is static. It is dynamic. You see, day in and day out, as technology grows, the subject also keeps experiencing new or more and more updates. Now you go to the banking industry, years ago, there was nothing like branch networking. If I talk about branch networking, I'm referring to the fact that banks linking up all their branches on a common platform where they can share their client information. There was nothing like that, let's say, some 20 years back. Some 20 years back, or even less than 20 years back, if you needed to access your bank account, you had to go to your specific branch. Your specific branch. If your branch, for instance, if you open a bank account with if you opened a bank account with EcoBank, and then your branch was Osu at the time you opened the account, 20 years ago, you had to go to the same branch every day before you could have access to your account, your bank account. But today, it is not like that. Today, we know that if only you want to use the branch to access your account, whichever branch, which part of the world that you see the particular bank there, it is possible for you to have access to your bank account. Whether you are within Ghana or you are outside Ghana, you can still have access to your bank account so far as it is the same bank we are dealing with. Even some banks have affiliates bank in other parts of the world that when you are there in those countries and you want to have access to your account, it is still possible. So the world keeps on changing. Technology keeps on, sorry, I'm having interruptions because I need to be admitting people. As I teach, I see some of you coming in and I have to admit you. Okay, so I was saying that as technology changes, we cannot have the way banking used to be some years ago being the same. Things have also changed. So, University of Professional Studies, a prestigious university, seeing how important technology has affected the banking industry, decided that we should introduce a course which will cater for students' needs when it comes to how technology has shaped the banking industry, so that as you are doing the degree, by the time you leave the school and then you get yourselves employed in a bank or any other financial institution, you will not find yourself wanting when it comes to, knowledge with respect to the electronic banking technologies. So this course was actually introduced to have or to introduce students to some technological developments which have happened in the banking sector of Ghana as well as other parts of the world. And every day, or should I say, Yeah, no, it's on daily basis, day in and day out. We have a lot of technological changes, a lot of technological updates, which have all come to, reshape the way banking is done in modern times. So this course is actually going to equip you to have some knowledge when it comes to application of electronic banking. And it will help also, it will help you so that when you get yourselves employed and you are asked about any of these technologies, you should be able to explain them, how they work practically, and how they can be applied also in the practical sense. So that is what electronic banking is all about. But you see, their course is electronic banking and electronic commerce. We have two main courses blended as one. Electronic banking is a separate course. Electronic commerce too is a separate course. I hope you know that. I think the marketing department also, they have a course called electronic commerce, which their students also take. Now, for us, we have blended the electronic commerce and electronic banking so that you can kill two birds with one stone. So not only will you be looking at electronic banking, but we will also be looking at electronic commerce. Electronic commerce is something that we are all involved. The social media platforms that we use all the times, etc., they all aid electronic commerce. We do buying and selling with the aid of electronic gadgets. You advertise, like I just told you that I advertise my products at Gigi, I advertise on Facebook, YouTube, etc. These are all parts of electronic commerce. Buying and selling with the aid of electronic devices, electronic commerce. So, in the current world, where we have a lot of technological developments happening, electronic commerce is the order of the day. If you are into trading and you are not into electronic commerce, then it means that, hey, my people, please don't put things on my screen or erase them. I've seen some things on the screen. Please, whoever
Cut
has
juice.
got it, erase it. Thank you very much. So, as I was saying, electronic commerce is the order of trading in our modern times. And if you look at the volume of trading that occur at the electronic commerce, on the electronic commerce platforms on daily basis, they are worth trillions or billions of dollars, whichever currency you want to put it, they are worth trillions and billions. That should tell you how electronic commerce or how businesses are making good use of electronic commerce to promote their businesses. So electronic commerce is something that we cannot do without. So this course is actually combining electronic banking and electronic commerce for you to have the benefit of using technological technological gadgets or devices to conduct trade, and using technological gadgets or devices as well to conduct banking. So that is what electronic banking and electronic commerce is all about. Now, I've already talked about, as I was saying, I mentioned some of the objectives. You can see them here. I don't want to go into them. I mean, you can read this in your own free time, but I'll be talking about some of them here as I go through the topics one after the other with you. For instance, the second one, you see that the objective seeks to provide students with clear-cut difference between electronic banking and digital banking. I'll talk about them as I go through the topics one after the other with you. So let's look at how the topics will be by the weeks. Now, you see that the first week is for introduction to the course and discussion of course outline. That is exactly what we are doing. The second week, we will have introduction again, but this time we will have introduction with regards to electronic banking. We'll do electronic banking, I think, for half of the, okay, electronic banking basically takes like 60% of the course. Then the rest of the 40%, don't write on my screen, oh. Don't write on my screen, oh, my people.
Copy Jones.
Asantewa, are you the one writing on the screen? Please erase it.
Madam, it's Copy Jones.
Erase it, oh. I've seen some lines on the screen. Okay, so the second week, we will have introduction to electronic banking by, first of all, beginning with an overview of traditional banking. We will look at overview of traditional banking. This overview of traditional banking will not be different from what Christine has already taught you. This is where we will look at, we'll try to define what banking is, what a bank is. If we talk about a bank, what we mean by a bank, what are some of their products, etc., etc. But one thing that you learn, which is unique with regards to electronic banking, is the fact that when we talk about traditional banking in electronic banking, traditional banking also refers to brick and mortar banking. Brick and mortar, brick. You know how we build? We build with mortar and bricks or blocks. So when we say that electronic banking means, or another name for electronic banking is brick and mortar banking, we are simply referring to the fact that traditional banking is confined to a premises or to a particular building, etc. There's a confinement, a confined place when it comes to electronic banking. Sorry, traditional banking, meaning that you cannot do traditional banking via any of the technological gadgets or any of the computer or other electronic devices. Traditional banking is go to the banking hall, you see a bank officer, you tell the person your needs, the person solves your needs for you right there. There's no electronic gadgets involved when it comes to brick and mortar banking. I'll give you further explanation next week when we actually go into it. Then we will also look at overview of electronic banking and digital banking. Now, we will look at electronic banking, what we mean by electronic banking. Then we will also look at digital banking. People normally use the words interchangeably, thinking that when we talk about electronic banking, you can actually replace electronic banking with digital banking. But my dears, electronic banking and digital banking are different. They are not the same. You cannot use digital banking to replace electronic banking. We'll see that one is the older version, the other is a current or modern version. We will go into a definition of what electronic banking is, and then we'll look at what digital banking is. Then we will strike out the main difference between electronic banking and digital banking. Then we will also move on to importance of electronic banking. And with the importance of electronic banking, we will consider how important electronic, here it is electronic stroke digital banking. We will consider how important electronic stroke digital banking is important to the customer of banks or the customer of a bank. We will look at how important electronic banking is to the customer, and we'll also look at how important electronic banking is to the bank. So we'll look at all these. Then from the third week, we will try and start with e-banking or digital banking technologies. we will look at electronic banking stroke digital banking technologies. Here, we will try and look at some of the electronic devices or the aids. What we talk about when we say aids to electronic banking or technologies, aids to electronic banking or electronic banking technologies, they are all the same. So we'll look at some of these aids to electronic banking. And the first one we will consider in week 3 will be the automated teller machine, what we shortened as ATM. We will see how ATM works by first of all looking at history of ATM. We'll look at the uses of ATM. The uses of ATM surpasses what you know of. The fact that we know that ATM is for withdrawal, is for account checking, etc. There are a lot more uses of ATM that we will learn when we get to this part of our study. Then we will look at ATM security or security of ATM. We will look at ATM reliability. Then we will look at ATM fraud. In fact, over here, we will pick examples from around the world of ATM frauds which have occurred and the places they occurred. We'll look at how they occurred, etc. So I'll show you some videos of some ATM fraud related cases and the countries they occurred, etc., etc. Then we will seal it off with new ATM developments. That is what we call the digital ATM. So look at the current development. That is the modern or the digital ATM. The ATM that we knew some years back, there has been a lot of changes. The ATM that we see in Ghana here, if you travel outside the country, you go to some developed countries like US, etc., Australia, their ATMs they are using are not the ATMs we are using in Ghana here. These are more current, and we'll see videos of some of them and how they work. Then we'll move on to week 4, and in week 4, we will consider, well, we'll still continue with the e-banking stroke digital banking technologies by looking at electronic cards. Now, electronic cards, this is one important technology that we cannot, do without when we are talking about electronic banking or electronic commerce, because electronic cards play a key role in electronic commerce and electronic banking. We use electronic cards to access our bank account. We use electronic cards to make payments when it comes to electronic commerce. So electronic cards are very, 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 very important electronic banking stroke electronic commerce technology that we will consider. Now, we will look at the 2 main types of electronic cards. That is the credit cards and the debit cards. We'll look at what credit cards are and we'll look at what debit cards are. We'll come to Ghana. I mean, we will have an example of an electronic card, which is an example of a debit card, EaseWish. We'll look at how EaseWish work. Then we'll look at how electronic cards are numbered. Electronic cards numbering, we'll consider that, and we'll consider some well-known electronic card fraud. Some well-known electronic card fraud. Some of you are into this electronic card fraud. You buy credit cards online, and sometimes, buying credit cards online, you cannot be rest assured of how much you have on the card. It is
but I'm the voice.
Yes, Kobe Jones.
Hey, Kobe Jones, see there, who money. So, so as I was saying, we will look at some electronic card fraud, some examples that have happened in the world. And when it gets to this point, I normally show a documentary of one fraudster who has actually confessed how he was going about his electronic card fraud. I'll show you that documentary and other videos which are necessary. Then we will go into not today, I mean, when we get to this topic.
Okay.
Then we will go into new developments in electronic cards, new development. Electronic cards have been advanced. I mean, the technology has been advanced. Now they have made a card which works like a computer, a card. There's the credit, whether it's a credit card or a debit card, the card works like a computer such that it can actually, you know, erase the card number and other details of the holder when the holder puts it on lock. If you lock it, it erases your information so that anybody who comes into contact with the card cannot use your information. If you unlock it, all your information comes back. So they have made a card which works like a computer. We don't have that yet in Ghana, but it is done in the US and other developed countries. So look at some new developments in electronic cards. Then in week 5, we'll still continue with the technologies by looking at other technologies such as branch networking. You know, branch networking is how banking started. Now, there are a lot of arguments about whether branch networking with how technology is advancing, people are debating that it will get to a time where branch networking will actually collapse. That is, there will be no need for people to go to the banking hall because everything will be done via an electronic device. Whether that is true or not, when we get to branch networking, we will look at it. We'll look at personal computer banking, which is also another type of banking, but now personal computer banking, which used to be in the olden days, it is no longer being used because of internet now, but it is important you know how it works or how it worked in those times. So I'll teach you. Then we'll look at also internet banking or online banking. In fact, the internet has now taken over every aspect of our lives. Even our mobile phones, our computers, etc. Now, with the aid of the internet, we are able to do whatever banking we want with them. So internet banking or online banking is a very, very important technology of electronic banking. And we'll look at that. Then we will look at mobile banking. Mobile banking too is one of the #1 electronic banking devices, which has really brought banking very far. We will look at how it works. Then we will end the electronic banking technologies with new developments in the other devices that we'll consider in week 5. In week 6, we will consider the overview of electronic commerce. You know, up to week 5, we will pause on electronic banking so that we will go into electronic commerce as well. So in week 6, we'll consider overview of electronic commerce by looking at definition of e-commerce. We will try and define what e-commerce is. We'll look at the various divisions of e-commerce. We will look at overview of e-business. E-business and e-commerce are not the same. One is within the other. So when we get to this point, we define what e-business is, what e-commerce is, and we'll look at which one of them is within the other. And we will consider the difference. When we get to e-business, we'll look at the models, the various models of electronic business, the models that we use to explain electronic business, like the consumer to consumer, consumer to business. We'll look at all that. We'll look at all the electronic commerce, electronic business models. And we will seal week 6 off too with a difference between electronic commerce and electronic business. So we will look at that. And in week 7, we will go into electronic commerce topologies. Electronic commerce topologies, or another name for that is electronic commerce technologies. Electronic commerce technologies. So in essence, when you are asked to write about electronic commerce topologies, is the same as electronic commerce technologies. I can also ask you to write about electronic commerce technologies instead of topologies. Do not come and tell me that, Madam, this one you didn't teach us. When you see topologies, we are referring to the same technologies. So we will use week 7 to look at electronic commerce topologies and security of electronic transactions. And under the electronic commerce topologies, we'll look at the 3 main electronic commerce topologies. That is the internet, the intranet, and the extranet. Internet, intranet, extranet. We'll look at how these work and how they aid electronic commerce. Then we will consider security of electronic transactions. You know, we get ourselves exposed when we are online, or we are exposed to the entire world once we are online. So how do we make sure that people are not able to access our information, private information from online, and then use the information against us? So what we will do is that we will look at the various security measures that can be put in place so that we can somehow protect our data from unauthorized access. We'll look at various measures or authentication, various authentication measures, such as access control. We'll define what access control is and look at how it works, such as firewall. We'll look at firewall and how it works, and encryption or coding. So we'll look at how data, the meaning of data, can be transferred into something meaningless to somebody who is an unauthorized person. Should the person intercept the message that you have sent, the person will not have any meaning from the message because you have encrypted the message. So we'll look at how encryption works. Then we'll move on to week 8, where we will still continue with our electronic commerce by looking at web strategy. And this time, we will blend electronic commerce and electronic banking at the same time. So, but we'll first look at web strategy and then seal it off with e-banking risk management. E-banking risk management. Now, under e-banking, under web strategy first, we will look at, you see, when we talk about web strategy, we are simply looking at, you know, as a business or as a company, it is important to have a website. Now, when you have a website, you know that there are certain things that can attract people to visit your website and revisit again. You see, people visiting your website depends on certain things they see at the website. If someone visits your website for the first time and the person sees the website as boring as ever, the person will not have any motivation to go back to your website. Now, the visitation to the business website is not what matters to us. What matters to us is the end result that that visit of those people will bring to the business or the company. What do I mean by the end result? The end result, I'm simply referring to the fact that if we have more people visiting our website, it means the more the people visit the website, the more they get to familiarize themselves with what we do as a business. When they get to know what we do, then it means that there's a chance that should they be in need of any of the product or service our company provide, our company will be the first company on their minds for them to select us and do business with us. When they do business with us, what we will gain is the revenue or the money they will bring into the company. And when they bring in revenue, or when we make more revenue from the business we have with them, the revenue will go a long way to help increase the business profitability. You see, this is the more reason why we are interested as a business in our web strategy. So if you are designing a website for your company, it is not all about just putting everything in text, but there are some factors that should, come to play for the website to be well designed, to help attract more and more people to visit the website for the first time and revisit on subsequent occasions. Now, some people sat down, some researchers, they conducted a research. And at the end of their research, they were able to come up with some factors which they believe should the organization consider those factors when it comes to their web page designing. It will help attract customers onto their website for them to visit the first time and revisit subsequently. And some of these attractors, or some of these measures which they labeled as attractors, are entertainment park, the archive, exclusive sponsorship, gift shop, the club, and customer service center. So in this class, we will go through these attractors. They are supposed to be 7. One is not there. Don't worry, when we are doing it, we will. I'm trying to see which one didn't come. Okay, you don't worry. When I get there, I think there are 7. When we get to the topic itself, we'll look at it. Now, so these attractors, when you are designing your business website and then you apply them, they help attract more customers to visit and revisit the web page for the business to be on the minds of those customers, for them to be attracted and then, do business with the organization, bring in more revenue for the organization to increase its profitability. After that, we will move on to e-banking risk management. There's a lot of risk involved in electronic banking. Now, in this class, we'll consider some of the risks, e-banking risk management. We'll first of all start with the types of e-banking risk. Then we will continue with the Basel II electronic banking risk management principles. Some of the risk management principles that banks can apply to help reduce some of the risk and even do away some of the risks that they face when it comes to electronic banking. Now, in week 9, we may do mid-semester. I'm saying we may because I can also hold on with the mid-semester till we finish the course. So it depends. If we get to week 9 and I feel we should do it, I'll let you know. If I feel we shouldn't do it, I'll also let you know. But whatever be the case, our mid-semester will be online. It will be online. It will be, maybe if it is 20 minutes, you log on to the learning management platform, and then you will start. At a particular time, you go and take the test. When the time is up, it will be up for everybody. So I'll tell you more about it when we meet on face-to-face. Then we have in week 10, we'll do truncation of checks via electronic means. Truncation of checks via electronic means. So here we will look at how checks and other negotiable instruments, how checks and other negotiable instruments are cleared. We'll consider the manual clearing system. We'll look at the structure of the payment system in Ghana. We'll look at the role of GIPS, Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, the role they play in the payment system of Ghana. We'll look at the check code line clearing. We'll look at the Ghana Automated Clearing House. We'll look at all this in week 10. Then we'll consider other issues related to electronic banking and electronic commerce. Now, what I'll do is, this from week 11, the topics. From week 11 to week 13, the topics, or it can be from week 10, it depends. Those are the topics that you are likely to have as your group work. And then you do them and present them when we resume for the face-to-face. Don't worry, I will think about how we'll go about it with the class prefect. I mean, I'll tell the class prefect how we'll go about it. You share it with the class. And then I'll give the topics out. You can start work immediately so that when we meet, then we will continue from there. Or we'll have your presentations. So under the other issues, we'll look at the message switching systems for bank. And the main message switching system for banks we'll consider is SWIFT, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. That's the full meaning of SWIFT. We'll look at that. We'll look at other legal issues. That is Electronic Transactions Act of Ghana and the Ancestral Model of Laws, which is an international law. We'll look at that. Then in week 12, we will consider cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. This is a group work you do. Now, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is gradually taking over the world. Now, you know how much one Bitcoin is worth? When the Bitcoin business started, a lot of people undervalued it. Now it is around $35,000 or $40,000 or so per one Bitcoin. Now we have a lot of countries which have accepted Bitcoin as a legal tender. So you can use your Bitcoin to pay your taxes and other, things in the country. Countries like Japan, Bitcoin is a legal tender. So you can use a Bitcoin to trade or to buy anything you want, just like you can use the currency. So gradually, cryptocurrencies are taking over the world. The blockchain technology is taking over the world. So we'll look at an overview of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, what they are. We'll look at the types of cryptocurrencies. We have a lot of so many types of cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin is the most popular one that we all know of. There are other types too that we'll consider. We'll look at how blockchain technology works. We'll look at the security of blockchain technology. We'll look at privacy of blockchain. We'll look at blockchain versus Bitcoin. We'll look at public and private key bases. We'll look at blockchain practical application, merit and demerit of blockchain technology. So I will be dividing these to you as group work for you to work on them, and then you present in class for all of us to hear. Then the last topic will be the future of digital banking, which you do as a group work. Future of digital banking. But even though I'm saying you do this as group work, if you check the LMS, I have information on all of them for you. Information on all of them for you. But then you also do your research and then you come and present to us in class. So the future of digital banking, we'll look at digital banking platforms. That's the future of digital banking platforms. We'll look at the future of electronic banking technology. Look at the future of cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies. So these are the topics we'll be looking at this semester. And for the class assessment, I've already spoken about it. The group work or the group assignment you'll be doing with presentation will carry 20 marks. And then the midterm will also carry the rest of 20 marks. have some books here that you can. These are all, I think they are all soft copy books also. Or are they all soft copy books? I don't, remind me, class secretary. Yeah, I think most of them I have the soft copy. I'll check if I do. If they are not already on the e-learning platform, I'll check whichever one I have the soft copy. I'll put them on the LMS for you to download. And then, but I'm putting up a book on electronic banking. In fact, it's been years since we started. We are hoping that we'll finish this year. If you're able to finish, then it will be the major book for this course, but not this time. I mean, not for you. The books I have given you here, you can resort to them, add your lecture materials. It is difficult getting information on electronic banking. As for e-commerce, there are a lot of books and information on it. By electronic banking, normally it becomes difficult. So rely on the class and notes that you've been given, plus the books, the soft copy books I'll give you. And if you have any other good book that you want to consult to, you can do that to help you, grasp the concept of electronic banking and electronic commerce. There are also other optional books that you can look at. Okay, so basically, that is all that we'll be doing for this semester. And I will pause here. Next week, same time, we'll meet to start topic 1. Today, I have seen only 43 participants, but please tell the rest that from next week, we are all having the lecture as one group from 11:15 to 1:15 or whatever time they have allotted on the course outline. We will have the course. Or when I finish the topic for the day, and it is even before time, we can close. So please tell the rest to participate next week, because when we come for face-to-face, I am not going to reteach you what I am teaching you online. When we come for face-to-face, it will be continuation of where we've gotten to. And maybe if you have questions that you want me answered on what we've done before, no problem. I can take the questions, but even that one, I will not encourage it. If I'm teaching you and you don't understand something, after the class, I'll give you the opportunity to ask your questions. So you can clarify whatever you don't understand. But it can also happen that during your own personal reading, you may have seen some things that you are not so clear about. You can ask me. You can ask me, and I will. But don't call me during odd hours. All right. So if you have any question, you can unmute your microphone yourself and ask. That is if you have a question. If you don't have any question too, you can let me know so that we'll close. I'm tired.
Thank you, madam. God bless you and for the advice.
Oh, okay. Thank you too. God bless you. So we will meet. I guess there are no questions. Or there's a question.
Madam, no.
All right. Okay, that's good. So we'll meet again next week, same time, to begin with the first topic. I wish you all the best, okay?
Thank you, madam.
Enjoy your day.
Bye.
God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, madam. Bye-bye.